Hi, my name's Tim, and this is part two of my series on what I would do if I was the showrunner in Doctor Who. So the first part was about who I'd cast as my Doctor. I'd cast Patterson Joseph, and who would I cast as my main companion, my only real companion, Maisie Smith from EastEnders. So this is part two, but basically this is episode one. See the subtitles appear. Episode one, Still Gleaming. That's what the episode's called. So you see 1966, Carnaby Street, London. You see a shot of a woman walking out of a flat. She says goodbye to her housemate, Mark. See you later. You see music starts playing. You hear These Boots Are Made for Walking by Nancy Sinatra. You see her get on the tube. While she's on the tube, she's reading 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. But we don't see her face. Because the whole time we just follow her. The camera follows her through London, through getting the Underground, which again is 1966, to the Bank of England. You see other people reading about, you see a newspaper seller or something saying that this is the period in history when the Jules Rimet trophy has been stolen. The World Cup has been stolen, which did happen, and in 1966. So she walks up to the Bank of England and she says that she wants a job, and then we see her face, and it's Maisie Smith. The character is called Poppy Cooper. I'm not really that tied to names or anything like that, but I'm going to use the Poppy. She's in full like retro 60s kind of secretary outfit, even like horn rimmed glasses, kind of thing like that. As she walks through the Bank of England, she sees that all the bank tellers are there working, apart from one of them is leaning back, feet on the table, bowler hat on his head, asleep. Bowler hat on his eyes, asleep. And no one's noticing. And she's a bit like, what's going on here? So she goes into the interview, and they ask her if she's applying for the job of secretary. But she wants to be a banker. She doesn't want to be a secretary. She wants to be a banker. And when we first hear her talking, she's putting on like a posh English accent, which we all kind of a bit like, that's not weird. That's a bit strange even. That's kind of not Maisie Smith's usual accent. And yeah, she's kind of going through this job interview, and eventually they say she's not. They say something along the lines of like, "You're not what we're looking for. You're not the right material." Something very sexist, elitist, something like that. And then she kind of drops the accent and starts rattling off information on why she would be the best banker for the job, why she'd be good at the job. And she kind of starts kicking up a fuss of. So this shows who she is and what she wants, and that she's smart and that she's outspoken, which is what you want from a companion. Anyway, she starts kicking up a fuss and basically gets escorted out of the building. And she's still like shouting about, you've got a banker there who's just asleep. He's not even doing anything. And anyway, she kind of gets back on the train and goes back to her flat, or starts heading back towards her flat in Carnaby Street. But someone is following her. She thinks she loses them, but eventually he walks out of seemingly a normal phone booth, and we get the Doctor. The man asleep in the bank was Patterson Joseph as our Doctor. Black three-piece suit, black bowler hat, carrying a black umbrella, but he's got bright coloured, let's say it's red, bright coloured shirt, socks, and like a red flower in his lapel. And he's the banker pretending to be asleep. So, and he's impressed by her for noticing him because he had a perception filter up. He's the Doctor. And he's investigating the theft of the Jules Rimet trophy. And he needs our help. So they go. She's local. Like, hey, you're local, and I'm not. Something he says something along those lines. They go to a pub to talk about this, and figure, and like he's like, let me I need your help, and she's like, buy me a drink or something like that. So they go to a pub, and I want to have a scene here. This is the first episode with a Black Doctor set in 1960s London. I want to have something where the barman doesn't serve him, because it's something that did happen in those days, and we need to talk about it. I don't want it to be the whole focus of the episode, but I do want to have a scene. But the Doctor thinks it's because they think he's a banker, and And they're like, no, we don't serve your type here, or something like that. And he's like, oh, no, 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 no. I may look like a banker, but I'm not actually a banker. And then he points at a sign and he goes, well, I'm not. It says no blacks, no Irish. And he's like, well, I'm not Irish, or something like that. But eventually they kind of sort it out. Maybe Poppy buys the drinks and he goes outside or something like that. But I just wanted to have a scene where you kind of talk about this. Then we get them talking about, he's like, what they're looking for. I'm looking for the Jules Rimet trophy. I think it's something that's a big thing. And she's like, well, if I help, like, what can I do to help? She just wants adventure. Then we get the reveal that the Jules Rimet trophy is actually a device for an alien spaceship. It's some kind of transmitter and it's calling for pickup, something like that. And if the aliens come and get it, or if Earth have lost it, then they may blow up the world or something like that. And she keeps asking. She asks loads of questions about it, and she's struggling with. She asks as they're having this discussion in the pub, finds out that he has missing memories. That's a key theme of this arc, is that he's missing memories, because we don't get to see him turn from David Tennant into Patterson Joseph. He just is. He's there. She's asked, how long have you been looking for it? He can't quite remember. Stuff like this. So they finish that and they start going on, and he has some device that will help him try and find the Jules Rimet, like a big sonar thing or some kind of invention that he's got that goes ding. Meanwhile, you have a bunch of gangsters who have stolen the Jules Rimet trophy and are looking to fence it, to make money, because it's the World Cup. It's incredibly valuable. And then you've got the police as well, who are out trying to catch the gangsters and trying to find the people. And Poppy and the Doctor are kind of caught up in the middle of this. So there's a bit where they go into the gangsters' hideout and they try and swap out. The Doctor invents a copy of the Jules Rimet, which looks exactly the same, but isn't an alien transmitter. And they try and swap it out. They use a bit of psychic paper to get into the hideout, and there's there's the gangster hideout. There's Poppy and the Doctor sneaking in. They realise actually the aliens are here as well, and then the police turn up as a raid. Absolute chaos. And in the end, the Doctor and Poppy escape. The aliens sneak away unseen by the police and the gangsters. It's only the Doctor, maybe Poppy, that notices them. And the gangsters have to ditch the trophy in a bush. This is where, in real life, the dog walker and Pickles find the trophy. That's what happened in real life. Meanwhile, the Doctor and the aliens have a negotiation, and we still not sure what was going on. Who has what? Is it the dummy? Is it the real transmitter? But basically, we talk with the aliens and see that it's a recording history of the world. That's what this transmitter does. And then the Doctor has to talk about his own memories, and he's like, "Oh, maybe this device can track what's happened to me on Earth. I've spent a lot of time on Earth, I think." And but the device has no memory of him, as if he's been erased in some way. In the end, they kind of reveal they do the handover, and the Doctor says, "Oh, right now I'm off on adventure," and she's like, "Well, I want to do something memorable." And then they head off in the TARDIS. Meanwhile, in the last episode, in the very, very last bit, we see her housemate Mark, who will be a major character later, just go out and, maybe sees the telephone box disappear or something like that, and is a bit like, whoa, and he goes to he opens a phone box, a red phone box, and then he closes the door, and then the camera zooms out and we hear him scream or something like that. It's like a mystery on what's going on with Mark. And that's the plot of the episode. So I want this to be fairly light in terms of stakes. The focus is Poppy and the Doctor. I wanted to have a companion who's from the 60s. I think we haven't had a companion who is from the past. I think that would be really interesting. And I also, in terms of tone, I want it to be quite light in tone. Not quite as light as the first Donna Noble episode, Partners in Crime, but something similar to that, where the threat, it's all about misunderstandings, and the main villains would be the gangsters, and the aliens are also a kind of an antagonist. You've got, you know, you've got several people in the mix. You've got the Doctor and Poppy, you've got the aliens looking for their device, you've got the gangsters who have stolen the device looking to sell it for a profit, and then you've got the police who are trying to catch everybody. So it's a bit of like a fun heist kind of thing. And then from a production point of view, it'll be really cool if you film it in the Bank of England. Like, that will be a really cool shot. But the rest of it all takes place in London, in kind of gangsters' houses. I think it would be great if... I'm not really too fussed about what the aliens look like. That's something I'm not really fussed about. But it would be cool if you kind of don't see that much of them, just to save on budget and also keep that mystery of it. It's just a cool idea to think that in real life it could be that aliens did need the Jules Rimet trophy, and something that's quite interesting. So that's my episode 1. So they get in the TARDIS and they leave off. And next time we'll talk about episode 2. So yeah, that was episode 1 of my show of Doctor Who, still gleaming. Thanks. Bye. Oh, also, before I go, please, if you're watching this and you're a Doctor Who fan, or if you're not, or just let me know what you would do if you were looking to run Doctor Who, or if you got any feedback on what the videos are like, or just any thoughts you have. I appreciate it. So, cool. Thanks. Bye.